Coming up on Tekzilla, is Windows 7 starting over and over again? We're going to talk about how to fix that. We have the best free backup and recovery software we've ever seen. We're going to tell you whether or not a lowly MacBook can be used to edit HD video. And of course, we got a few viewer questions along the way. So stir fry that pad thai and throw in a side of fried basil, because Tekzilla starts now. This episode of Tekzilla is made possible by GotoMeeting, GameFly, and Squarespace. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Welcome to Tekzilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear that you've already got.
Whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech or the most delicious way to roast a pig, we've got an answer for you.
And if we don't, we'll track down someone who does, and we might even hold them hostage if they're really good with barbecue.
We do not actually hold pitmasters hostage. We will, however, happily take any and all free barbecue anyone wants to send us our way.
That's 2415 3rd Street, Suite 232, San Francisco, California, 94107.
Tech show. Right?
Tech show?
Tech show.
Sorry. Okay.
Not barbecue show.
I'm not even going to get into the whole Han Solo versus Mal Reynolds poll that was up on Geek Dad this weekend, but I will say if your beloved Windows 7 box started shutting down every 2 hours this week, fear not, it is not a virus. It just means it's time to upgrade from the release candidate that you got for free to a full install that you're going to pay for. The crew over at howtogeek.com, what an excellent name, and also an excellent how-to on upgrading from Windows 7 RC to the final release. We have a link to it in the show notes. I mentioned this because technically there is no way to upgrade to a shipping retail OEM version of Windows 7 from the release candidate you got for free for all these months, unless you're actually willing to do a little bit of hacking about. You can go to How to Geek to get the details. I will say that I'd much rather do a clean install from a fresh version of Windows 7. That is the best, the smartest, the happiest thing to do. Just back your data off of there and then install a fresh, clean install of Windows 7 and start over again. Oh, by the way, and according to the geeks, the how-to geeks, the beta release candidates of Windows 7 were Ultimate Edition, so you could only upgrade to the Ultimate Edition, which is a sparkling, brace yourself, $180 for the OEM version. The OEM version from my local computer store versus Home Premium, which has pretty much everything I've ever wanted in an operating system for $109. Yeah. I don't know. I gotta say, I really screwed up missing the Windows 7 Family Pack, which was 3 versions of Premium for $150.
Well, a clean, fresh install sounds like a good idea.
I think it's the smart way to go.
Yeah, from the strange and unsolicited email of the week department, Aaron writes in, 5 days of no interweb? I just spent 6 weeks not going on the internet. Never do that, ever. It burns! 6 weeks without any internet access does sound awful, Aaron. Viewer Craig wrote in with an alternative to the 360 electrical rotating surge protector that you were showing off last week.
I was showing it off.
He says a much more economical solution for power brick organization are the power liberators at cyberguys.com. Check them out.
Yeah.
Now, I was actually thinking of getting that twisty thing because I just started putting an iHome setup in the bathroom. So when I'm getting ready in the morning, I can listen to music or I can listen to my audiobooks and stuff.
I know, like
it takes some time getting all this ready. I need something to entertain myself.
Beauty comes at a price, people, and you are not paying it.
But the brick is giant on the iHome, and so I can't fit my blow dryer plug in there or any of my other like electrical things. So I need something so I can turn it to the side so I can plug stuff in on the top.
Well, Craig, I like the wee little foot-long extension cords that you just sent us the link to, to get your fat plug devices. They're great if you already own a surge protector, but at $3 each or $15 for a 5-pack, they actually cost as much as the 360 Connect surge protector with the rotating plugs. So I don't know how much of a bargain that is. By the way, I had another friend lose a bunch of hardware from the blown motor control in his washing machine to the voltage stabilizer, the surge protector that was between his home theater gear and the outlets. Blew like a $300 device out, plus took out his washing machine. Plus, apparently a lot of stuff in his neighborhood got taken out, from light bulbs, electronics. Make sure you have surge protectors on your expensive gear, which at this point I would say includes any modern washing machine or any kind of stove or oven.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I guess they don't
Wait, what took out the whole neighborhood? Was there like a transformer blow or something?
There are a couple of neighborhoods in San Francisco seem to have more electrical issues than others.
Oh, okay.
So the last time my friend Josh, right? Like everything electrical in this house was taken out. Apparently, they had a trainee working for Pacific Gas and Electric that like connected slot A to tab C. Noob.
What a noob.
Noob pwned everyone in the neighborhood, like
Power
everyone in
noob.
that section of the grid. It took out his toaster oven. His television,
Not the
his
toaster
stereo,
oven.
well, imagine like something not like the delicate electronics. He took out his toaster oven, like it melted the wiring.
I'd be pissed if it took out my
inside his toaster oven.
microwave.
It
If
took
it
out his
blew my
microwave.
microwave, that would be like, not that I don't use my microwave constantly, but that's like an expensive kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, not that all
fortunately,
those other electronics aren't.
The utility, replaced everything that got blown out in his apartment, but it took a long time to get it, the payments and the cash together. And
Yeah.
But it's like if it's a lightning strike or if somebody screws up inside your house, they're not going to say, "Oh, we're so sorry." So put surge protectors on everything. Can't put it on the stove because there's no like 240 volt surge protector.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out why I value my microwave more highly than other electronic equipment in the house.
Because it's when it's 4 in the morning and you want that microwave burrito, you don't want to have to walk to the sketchy 7-Eleven to microwave.
Microwave, very important.
You're a geek. It's all
right.
about flat food.
Well, with the Olympics wrapping up, this next one seemed like a fun question, especially since Patrick gave up his usual movie obsession for the past couple of weeks to watch tons of curling, biathlon, and snowboarding.
Pretty much.
The curling is what really gets me. People love the curling. Tom writes in, we're going to be moving in the next couple of months, so it's a good time to consider giving up cable, satellite TV for good. You've had a lot of good suggestions for picking up TV shows and movies over the internet, but I love live sports. Can you cover the streaming options out there? Thanks, Tom in Fort Wayne.
Oh boy. Tom, if you're a baseball fan, you are in luck. Because basically Major League Baseball has both arms wrapped around the internet in a giant bear hug of joy and access.
Joy!
Yeah, Web 2.0 people call getting it. Jim, our Louderback, our CEO, Ron, our web developer, Maving, a lot of other folks swear by Major League Baseball's MLB.TV, which is called Baseball Everywhere. $100 a year or $20 a month gets you all. Brace yourselves. 2,430 regular season games, live or on demand in HD, MLB.TV for 120. Basically, the premium version, which is $120 for the season, $25 a month, lets you choose the home or away game, which basically means you can have your favorite announcer from your home team. It adds DVR controls for pause and rewind and multi-game view, so you can have like 4 games going on at once in your screen, or picture-in-picture, or split screen. Broadcast blackout rules do apply, so it works best if you're, say, an Oakland A's fan living in Brooklyn rather than a Brooklyn fan living, I guess, Mets fan living in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and
Mets?
if you're a football fan that lives outside the U.S., you can watch all the regular season games online. No, seriously, the NFL Game Pass HD is not available in the United States, Mexico, Canada, Bermuda, Antigua, the Bahamas, and any U.S. territories, possessions, and commonwealths, including American Samoa, Guam, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I understand they do have radio-style coverage inside the U.S.
And apparently,
so good for them.
Good for them. And there's like 17 games from 2000.
That's when you buy your buddy back home in Massachusetts. If you want to watch the Pat game, you buy him a sling box and just say, "Do they block that though?"
Well,
I can't remember how that ended.
Actually,
The
we'll say
fight with
blackout rules
Slingbox.
actually apply for the NHL, NHL.com. NHL, they kind of split the difference, or they did last year. For $20 a month, or $80 a season, $20 a month, you can watch like 40 out-of-market games every weekend, including the select. I love this, including select games from the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Not all of them.
Not all of them,
ones.
just select. But yeah, but again, I think because it's all like 40 out-of-market games, so again, your local blackout rules apply because they want people to go park their asses in the stadiums. I'd also say check your local listings for over-the-air broadcasts, but at this point, I have no idea. And pardon us, we are not the big football, baseball. Oh, you baseball, football, tennis?
I used to watch the Red Sox, and then I moved to San Francisco, and now I don't watch anything.
MLB.TV.
I know. I don't love them that much. I'm sorry, Red Sox fans. I grew up with you guys, but I can't afford to watch the Red Sox.
She grew up with you. She leaves the Boston area.
I gave up baseball.
You gave up
It's
baseball.
not like I switched teams. I'm not a team switcher.
You're not a team switcher, but they
No.
won the World Series after you left.
Yeah, because I was excited. I went and watched it at a local bar, and I was
know.
very happy.
But
But then I kind of got out of it without the constant pressure of being in Boston. Things
pressure
happen.
of
People
being in
change.
Boston.
Interests change. Anyway, which brings the question to the rest of the audience: what are your favorite sources online that stream live sporting events? Whatever the sport: tennis, soccer, cricket, Formula One, NASCAR, sumo wrestling. Whatever your favorite is, email Tekzilla at revision3.com. We'll pick our faves and share them with everyone out there.
Live sumo would be so epic.
That would
Have you ever
be
watched
so
the
cool.
sumo tournaments that are like multi-days long? Oh, pitching the salt and the mayhem and the snack tables.
Hey Tekzilla fans, lots of real businesses save real time and real money with GoToMeeting. Watch this real story about how one business does it and sign up for a free trial at GoToMeeting.com/Tekzilla.
We're a real business and we save real time and real money using GoToMeeting. Expanding to 6 locations has required us to meet with managers and meet with staff more frequently so that we can maintain the consistency and the quality of our service. The reason we chose GoToMeeting was its ease of use and the flat rate fee. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Anything else you can...
Even that should have pictures, in my opinion.
So whether it's me avoiding travel or our managers or staff, it saves us time and money because we're in contact with patients doing work as opposed to wasting time on the road.
Real business saves real time and real money with GoToMeeting. Head over to revision3.com/GoToMeeting for the full story and sign up for a free trial.
Welcome to this week's Freebie Download Pick, a free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. This week, Paragon Backup and Recovery Free Edition. Losing your data sucks. Doesn't matter if it's a virus, a mechanical failure on the drive, or just bad luck. Losing your hard drive is something every smart computer user should and can prepare for. One of the best backup tools out there is Paragon's Backup and Recovery 10.1, the free edition. It's free for non-commercial home use, like for you. It's based on their commercial backup and recovery tools, and it's pretty amazing. You got incremental backup, it does automated backups, it can build recovery CDs or recovery USB thumb drives. It has support for NTFS, FAT16, FAT32, Linux ext2 through 4, and HPFS. It is free, and that is just some of the stuff that's included. With walkthrough wizards for almost every function in the software, Backup and Recovery Free Edition is possibly the most complete and powerful free backup tool you are ever going to find. No more excuses, except maybe your house getting swallowed up by an earthquake. Grab a USB drive, download Paragon's Backup and Recovery 10.1 Free Edition, and back up your data right now.
So after hounding you guys for video questions, we finally got Philip who wants some buying advice. Take it away, Philip.
Hey guys, my iPod recently broke on me and I'd like to get a replacement MP3 player. I really don't want to get an iPod because this one didn't perform that well. I do really need the storage space and I hate proprietary connectors.
Well, you know, we hate proprietary connections as much as anyone else out there. If you watch the show enough, you're definitely going to hear us say that once in a while.
Yeah, not as much as I used to. I think I've just been worn down by that stupid...
I'm right there with him, with
iPod.
micro and mini USB. That would make me a happy lady if everything connected that way.
So that would take the Zune out of the picture too.
That would take the Zune out of the picture. There is a 120 gigabyte Zune. That would be okay if you were into that. It does have a... I actually really like the interface on the Zune. I think the Zune software is great.
Yes.
But there is one out there that could work for you. The Arcos 5, the internet tablet with Android. It has a micro USB connection. So that's something. It's 160 gigabytes. It's got a high-resolution touchscreen display. It's got Wi-Fi. You can actually run some Android applications on there too. And it's not ridiculously out of your price range either. I think it's around $400. Plus, it's got internet, you know, GPS, all that good stuff you're looking for in a PMP. And it's
that's a little bit more than music playback.
Yeah, it's everything. I mean, you're going to get your video, you're going to get your web surfing, touchscreen capacity. It's basically like a mini tablet.
Right.
But it's right up there in terms of price, and it's not bad. It's a great little device, and it's the first device that Arcos came out with that has a USB connection that's not proprietary. So you can go back.
And not to take anything away from Arcos, but like finding an iPod cable is one thing because you can pretty much buy them in every drugstore.
Or just steal them from
Walmart.
someone in the office.
Yeah,
if
versus
you need
finding
it.
an Arcos connector where you're like Amazon.com overnight.
Right. But there are some other options out there too. If you put aside the proprietary thing a little bit, there's some other Arcos players out there that are like non-internet tablet versions, like the 605 and the 705 Wi-Fi, both of which have those proprietary ports, unfortunately. And then there's the Wolverine ESP 160 gigabyte portable multimedia storage and player. It connects via USB. I'm pretty sure. I think you have to use the dock though to get it to connect. And Wolverine is like one of those brands that I've never really made up my mind about. Like
I've never even
it
heard
does
of
everything.
Wolverine before.
No, really?
Never, not even once.
Oh, they've been around for years, and they do a lot of PMPs and audio-video players. And
They're made of adamantium.
yes, exactly. It's going to be a little bit cheaper. It's about $250 to $325 online, but it has flash memory, so you can expand the memory if you want to. It plays all the normal formats back. It does video, so it's not a bad device. It's kind of on the old side, though. I don't know what the most recent Wolverine device is, though. I think it might be the one I just mentioned, but they've got a pretty good collection of devices out there. But you know, you can always look at Cowan and other Arcos players, like I mentioned, but they've got the proprietary thing going on too. And I can't think of any Cowans that go up to 160, although don't quote me on that. There's probably one out there.
I don't know. I'm sticking with Zune or iPod. Call me evil.
No, no. Maybe he just has to find his right player. You know,
Find a
everyone's
happy
got that player that
happy
they
player,
stick
find a
with
happy
forever.
player.
Maybe it's for him. Well, we've got ourselves a question from Jared in Louisiana. He writes, I'm considering taking the plunge and buying my first Apple laptop. Of course, I'm looking at the MacBook and the MacBook Pro. My question is, if I were to go with the MacBook, would it be capable of editing 720p video that I shoot? Or would I have to go with the MacBook Pro? Also, do you recommend just using the iMovie that comes with the Mac, or should I buy more advanced video editing software? Note, I will only be editing home videos.
Oh,
That's how it starts.
I
right?
hate iMovie. Oh.
Okay. People either hate
I'm
iMovie
a
or love
snob.
iMovie, especially since they kind of did somebody at Apple kind of went, I think iMovie is too complicated, and did this whole massive interface like restructuring.
Yeah,
right?
I hate it more now.
You hate it even more now. I say start out with iMovie, because Final Cut Express and Final Cut Pro can be, especially Final Cut Pro, they're kind of overkill for basic editing. I say start out with iMovie, and when you start realizing like there's stuff you want to do that you can't do with iMovie, then move on to Final Cut Pro or Final
If
Cut
you're
Express.
just doing home movies, iMovie would be fine.
Right.
It'll really be fine. If you can figure it out, if it's all you've ever used, if you haven't started with Final Cut, now you're going back into iMovie. See, that's
Right.
where I get all caught up, because I learned how to edit on Final Cut Pro, and so I know this sounds like a total snobby, douchey thing to say, but going back to iMovie is like really complicated for me. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
do the things I want it to do.
But I mean, most people like, you know, there's certain things where like, try this application. It's like, well, I learned in these Stone Age applications with traditional timeline layouts that are basically used, you know, based on the Avid timeline. So yeah, you know, I mean, look, start with iMovie. If you don't like it, spend the money for Final Cut Express, right? It's just that's a nice way to go. That way you don't spend an extra $100 and go like, I don't use 98% of the features in this, you know, because so much of editing is like, you know, where do you cut it? How do you do the transitions? Please keep the transitions simple, no star wipes.
I would just suggest getting the MacBook Pro because it's like $200 more.
Right.
And it's going to give you more processing power,
More memory.
more hard drive space, more memory. Yeah, so it seems like a good kind of choice to make.
Yeah, the same rules pretty much apply to the Windows Movie Maker, which is not inside Windows 7. You have to download it after you activate Windows 7.
That's so weird that they did that.
I think they did it just because they want people to sort of activate and get the extra treats. Maybe they just wanted, yeah, it is weird.
Okay.
Whatever, it's Microsoft, they do what they do. Before you upgrade to something like Corel's Video Studio or Adobe's Premiere, I love Adobe Premiere.
A lot of
in
people
ways.
like Premiere a lot.
Adobe Premiere is the only application in the history of Adobe that they ever scrapped the code base and started over fresh, and they did amazing, amazing things to it, because it used to be a nightmare. And there's trial versions of both Premiere and Corel.
Yeah, so see what kind of feels right with your workflow and just like the interface that you like the best. Yeah, it's
What about,
kinda,
oh, wait,
all about trying it out.
Is there a FireWire port in the MacBook now?
I
Quick,
think
find a MacBook.
mine has a FireWire, but I don't know if the newer my MacBook Pro has FireWire. MacBook Pros all have FireWire, but I
MacBook
don't think
Pros.
the MacBooks do.
That could be a problem if your video camera only has a FireWire output.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go from like that to your desktop to your notebook, which I don't think you're probably doing. Oh, I hate that. Every port should be available on every machine forever.
Unless it records to cards, yeah, I guess you'd have to.
Of regards to cards,
If it was
you
a
just
hard
drop the
drive
card.
camcorder.
So that's an additional
there's a-
wrinkle to think about in there. And I gotta say, like, if you want the ultimate editing experience, you definitely get like the Mac Pro, the desktop, except that they're so expensive for what you get.
I know, they're super expensive.
And there's no Core i7
And
yet.
they're not
although-
portable. So unless you're
That's true.
planning like a really big editing suite, you don't need a Mac Pro. Maybe a MacBook Pro, because it'll last you for a while. It'll last you several years, and you'll get a lot out of it.
And the 13-inch version of it, which you can attach to a big external monitor, is not that much more expensive.
That's what I'm going to get as soon as I upgrade. Yeah, don't buy anything now, by the way. Now would not be a good time to buy a laptop from Apple.
Okay.
No.
When
don't buy a laptop from
Apple. When are you estimating the arrival of the new?
I think they're making an announcement next month. So
next month.
I would give it a couple months before you, unless you're really, really desperate, don't do it now.
That.
I know. Well, I've been waiting forever. My computer is like, it needs an
Yours is only
upgrade.
like 2 years old.
It's 3 years old.
Oh, it's 3 years old.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the difference.
I know.
That last year.
All right.
Death, Broken Hearts, your favorite band taking just a little time off. There are bigger disappointments than getting home with a new video game and finding out you've just dropped $60 on a DVD jam-packed full of gaming suck. I cannot help you with death, I cannot help you with taxes, and my dating history is a nightmare that is mocked to this very day. But our sponsor, GameFly, they are the largest online video game rental service. They can help you avoid buying a crappy game. We're talking about having thousands of new and classic titles on tap across all consoles and handhelds at your fingertips, $15.95 a month. Here's the deal. You can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as you like. 832 hours to finish that game. Don't worry about it, because GameFly has no late fees, no due dates, and the shipping is always free. Once you're done playing the game, send it back, and GameFly will send you the next available game on your list. You like a game so much you want to never, ever have it leave your side, you can buy a game at a discount. They'll send you the manuals and all the good stuff that came in the box. Even better, Tekzilla fans get a 15-day free trial, but only if you sign up at gamefly.com/Tekzilla. Some restrictions do apply. See the site for details, but please keep Tekzilla coming to your doorstep by trying out our sponsors like GameFly. Gamefly.com/Tekzilla.
Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, Toodle-Doo! If you're looking for a free online to-do list, look no further than Toodle-Doo! The interface is very simple, and yet it gives you the functionality of a lot of the more expensive to-do helpers out there. Once you create your account, you can either start creating tasks for yourself or import them from another to-do manager. Then you can put them into specific task folders, add tags, create due dates, and enter in the priority of the task so you always know what should come next. If there are multiple people working on a project, you can share your tasks with them as well, and they can read and edit their tasks as they need to. They even have special tools for procrastinators if you need that extra little push. There's even an iPhone app that you can buy for $1.99, but it's just as easy to use the browser-based tools on the phone of your choice. So if you've tried other to-do apps out there and want something new, take a look at Toodle-Doo today. And I promise I'll stop saying it like that. John Smith writes in. I know we don't usually use last names, but come on, your name's John Smith.
He swears.
I'm sorry. I'm all set to snap up a Pogo plug after your review, but I want to buy an external 500 gigabyte or 1 terabyte hard drive that is meant to be left on all the time. I've had fairly good luck with LaCie, where my iTunes lives, and Maxter, connected to my router where I store some files and pics, but I bought both of those drives a while ago. I want the newest, bestest, shiniest drives to connect to my Pogo plug, and I trust only you, Patrick and Veronica, to recommend it.
Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, should I really switch from Dropbox to Pogo Plug? I'm only using the free 2 gigabyte flavor, and I have so much more I want to put on there, but don't want to pay a monthly fee when I'm already paying $99 for MobileMe. I know. Why use both? Can you help me, oh super cool nerds? Thanks, John in Brooklyn, New York. He's the only John Smith in Brooklyn. The only one.
Right. Oh, John, Brooklyn is in the house. 718 is here. I've just basically, for the last couple of years, I go to Costco, I get the Western Digital drive that's cheapest, or I buy whatever is the cheapest Western Digital drive on sale.
I also use Western Digital.
WD, Western Digital. That's what we're running. The LaCie drives, LaCie drives for the most part are great. Just not really available locally.
I've had LaCie drives fail on me a lot in the past. I've had this argument with Tom Merritt from CNET like a bunch of times because I've had LaCie drives fail, and he's had Western Digital drives fail.
Ergo.
And so we always are like, no, those are terrible. They're totally going to fail on you, and vice versa. And so,
it's kind of like talking about cell phone carriers.
Yeah.
You get 20 people in a room, everybody's got a legitimate gripe against, some, basically everybody's going to have a reason why you should never go with that cell phone carrier. We're both pretty into Western Digital. Your mileage may vary. Look, the difference between the Pogo plug and the Dropbox is if, somebody lights your house on fire, the earth opens up San Francisco style, swallows your house and crushes behind it, hopefully while you and your family are not inside of it. Your stuff gets robbed. With the Dropbox, which is stored in the cloud, as they say, your data will still be safe in the cloud, assuming the Dropbox people are doing their work. And I've talked to them and they seem like they're on top of it, so hopefully it will still be there.
Yeah, the Pogo plug could get damaged, and that would definitely affect your ability to access your files.
Surge protectors!
Sure. Yeah, surge protectors, that's a good one. I use a little bit of a mixture of those two things. I use Mozy to back up all my data, all my files, software, everything goes into the cloud that way. And then I use the Pogo plug to access some of those files, and also Dropbox. I kind of use it all right now because I've been testing all of them,
Right.
so I haven't picked one specific method that I really like. But yeah, I guess it depends on if you want to be able to pump up a 1 terabyte drive with the Pogo plug versus paying that extra money for that
Right.
amount, even close to that amount of space on Dropbox is going to be pretty expensive.
It's you're paying a pretty healthy
It's
monthly fee
$100 for 100 gigabytes, I think.
100
I think they
gigabytes.
do that incremental kind of additions.
Here's the thought. Maybe I have no interest in mobile me. If y'all are fans, email us and tell me I suck. But I say, Dropbox or Mozy or Carbonite is great for offsite storage. I would put it there unless, mobile me does. What does mobile me do anyway?
The only thing I can think of that mobile me is really good for is finding your phone if it's lost.
Okay.
Is using that find feature.
That's one.
It wipes, do the remote wipe, so all your data gets taken off the phone, so if it gets lost, you don't have to worry about it. That's really the only reason I would ever use it. I don't use it. In fact, I've convinced friends of mine who have purchased new Macs to take it back.
Take it back.
They've been suckered into buying it, and I'm like, you don't need that, girlfriend. You don't need it.
Maybe you put your gigantic music collection that you have, backed onto a second hard drive or something. You put that on the Pogo plug, because it's, for the Pogo plug, you buy it once, it's paid for, it connects to the internet, and as long as the Pogo plug people are still putting their internet interface on there, you can access it from anywhere. But in that case, Pogo plug, you bought it once, you're done. You don't have to buy it again.
And plus, you've got all that great streaming to your iPhone and stuff. I mean, I think you can watch videos on the Dropbox app from your iPhone, but I think the streaming is going to be a lot better through the Pogo plug.
Assuming you have a decent up-speed connection from your
And then you've got the
local
fact that
ISP.
you can have your entire library there at your disposal at all times, which is really nice. And then if you ever pick up more drives, you can connect them because it's got those 4 USB ports.
Hopefully this is helping you out, because
And we're not just rambling, I know.
Yeah, well, no, but it's like, there's a place. There's a place for offsite storage in case your house gets broken. We've said this over and over again. We live in a place where the earth will eventually shake and the houses will fall down, at least some of them. So maybe we're a little more paranoid. I come from sort of, East Coast, hurricane /
As do I.
tornado country in the
Yeah.
Midwest / earthquake country in
We've
the West.
seen it all. So
Or
we're very
at least
careful.
had it pass nearby our houses. Nick's got a question about pulling cable. What
He
did
does.
Nick write in?
He writes, Patrick and Veronica, I'm about to buy my first home, and one of the things I was thinking of doing was wiring it for Ethernet. Wireless is okay, but I feel like when wired is available, it's always a better option. Any tools, methods, etc. you can recommend for this process? Nick.
Absolutely. Sign a great big check and have somebody else do it before you move in.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, it depends on the house, right? Some houses are really easy. I gotta say, the more time I spend streaming HD and moving huge files around my house, the more of my house I wire with Gigabit Ethernet, all 700 square feet of it. I have a tiny house, and the garage, pretty much the unfinished garage underneath it pretty much touches it all. So with Gigabit Ethernet and all the parts of the house, it's secure, it's fast, it doesn't fade out in the corners of the house. If you do decide to pull cable, learn about the fire of building electrical codes in your area. I would say go with Cat 6 cable and buy a big fat spool of it, because if you have a decent sized house, you'll use several hundred feet wiring it up. Buy one of those big 1,000-foot spools, a bag of RJ45 connectors, and a crimper. It'll probably last you for the rest of your life, but it'll save you a lot over buying individual, or worse yet, don't try to take a 100-foot cable and pull it through the wall, because you always end up damaging one end and reconnecting it anyway, which is an incredible pain.
Yeah, if you have unfinished basements or crawl spaces or an attic, it's easy to run Ethernet. If not, a lot of folks have run it through AC vents instead of trying to figure out how to, fish it through the walls, like you were just saying. Just make sure you spring for those plenum-rated cables if you do the AC hack. Never Ethernet with your electrical wires. Don't lay it on electrical wires or fixtures. Just don't do that. Don't run it through the electrical junction boxes or wall outlets, and don't just throw it up above any ceiling tiles.
Yeah, like having it up above the ceiling tiles and just sitting there, that's just,
it is tempting though, especially if you have those kind of ceiling tiles that move up and
Right.
you can kind of like just slide it through above
Or
the
look,
grates.
like there seems to be space in this junction box. I'll pull it right next to my 120 volt line, which is great until
That's
somebody
not a good
screws up
idea.
and electrocutes everything.
Yay!
in your
No,
house.
and don't bend it too sharply. Like no more than like a 1-inch radius on the cable.
Like a 50-cent piece. No tighter than the quarter of a 50-cent piece.
There you go. See,
Yeah.
nice. That's
Oh.
it.
As you're running it, by the way, test and label both ends of the cable. Get your one of those little brother label makers so that you actually know where each.
For
Because
color twist ties.
I actually prefer labeling like living room
that
by
makes sense,
TV,
yeah.
kitchen. Because there's nothing worse.
Everyone loves a label maker.
they do make.
Aren't they the
ultimate
best?
Stocking stuffers, Christmas gifts, graduation gifts.
Patrick. Then I'll never forget who you are.
Well, one would
I just
hope.
used my imaginary label maker on you that only I can see.
The magic label maker. Does that mean you have an augmented reality chip built in?
I wish.
Shadowless tomorrow emailed in my old desktop bit the dust shortly after I bought my laptop, which is fine, but I got like 600 gigabytes of data on the old IDE drives in my desktop that I want back badly. What is the best way to get it? I've seen a few IDE to USB adapters, but is there a better way? Shadowless tomorrow.
Yeah. That's an interesting name. Nothing worse than knowing the data is right there, but not being able to get to it. It's like you just want to crack it. If you have an external USB drive, you can probably pull it apart, plug the drive from your old PC, and plug it into your new notebook. Failing that, spend the $12 or $20 for a USB to IDE adapter. Or better yet, buy a USB drive case for your old hard drive and use it for storing a copy of your favorite files. Mm-hmm. Like that guy.
Yes.
What's wrong with this? This is an oldie, isn't it?
Yeah, this is from like 1998. But I mean, basically, yeah, buy a USB adapter, buy a external USB drive adapter, and drop it in there temporarily. Borrow one from the neighbor. But that's pretty much the only way you're getting the data off.
So
of
hopefully
there.
there wasn't any damage to the drives. He didn't really mention what happened to his PC.
Let's hope it was just a motherboard failure.
Okay.
The data is safe.
We'll hope
and
for motherboard
snug.
failures
Yeah.
for you.
Well, you know, this is another reason to back up to a second drive because then your 600 gigabytes of files would be on
We should
that
just call
drive.
this the backup show.
Backup show. Everyone, go out and back up right now. And then think about Squarespace. It's a publishing system for just about anyone. My wife, she can code. My wife, she can develop large, amazing, complicated systems for accessing data over the internet. They call them websites. I cannot code to save my ass, which is why I like Squarespace. It's easy to move your existing site over. It supports WordPress, Blogger, TypePad, movable type imports. And it's got pretty slick. It'll migrate your posts, your comments, your tags, your authors, your media. And best of all, sophisticated web developers like my wife say it's actually pretty cool. It's a neat WYSIWYG tool that allows you to create things quickly. It's nice. At least my wife says it's nice. I'm a horrible programmer when it comes to the web. I'm an even worse programmer when it comes to computers, but I can help you out getting a discount for the rest of your life, or at least a lifetime of your order on Squarespace. Enter in the code Tekzilla. It doesn't happen when you first check it out, but after you get the trial period, they'll ask you if you want to buy into Squarespace, and if you do, put in the code Tekzilla, you'll get 10% off your order for the lifetime of the order. Check it out, people, squarespace.com. If you're looking for a nice integrated hosting development thing, I think it's worth your time. Squarespace.com.
Marshall recently sent us a question about monitors. He writes, I use my computer for web browsing, email, etc. I found that widescreen monitors cause me to scroll more and I have wasted space on the left and right of the screen. Are there any available portrait view monitors? Web searches always seem to bring up discontinued models. Apparently it's not a very common feature anymore. Marshall. Well, it's not common, Marshall, because the vertical resolution on most of today's 20-inch widescreen monitors is actually higher than it was on those portrait monitors, at least the ones we've taken a look at in the past. You know, for watching HD content, they've gotten bigger. For playing, you know, video games.
Well, it's kind of like, look, back in the day, right, it was like, you know.
I don't know why I'm stroking that, sorry. Keep going.
It was kind of fascinating. Back in the day, right, typically like, you know, 1024 by 768, and the 760 or the 1024 was
Yeah,
your
baby.
horizontal resolution, and the 768 was your vertical resolution, and you turn it sideways, and you get like the 1024 lines vertically. So you had this huge. It was great for like when you were editing pages, right? Because instead of getting this is how much I can fit vertically, you know, in this turn to the side, and this is how much I can fit in portrait mode, right? That's the whole point. of working in portrait mode, especially if you're legal documents, crazy paper editing, stuff like that, book publishers, whatever.
Or editing a ton of code.
Yeah, that would actually. I wonder why coders don't use these more.
I think they do. I've seen a lot of setups
Coders
where
in
people
Canada.
have a regular monitor in front,
Right.
and then they have two side-scrolling monitors on both sides, so they can read like big web pages or open up the code and view the source, that kind of stuff. Really, though, it's kind of an issue of the monitor stand allowing you to rotate the monitor or not.
Yeah.
Almost all video cards allow you to support,
Right.
allow you to switch between landscape and portrait, at least within Windows.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the bad old days, they used to have these crazy electrical. You used to hear these horrible grinds and sometimes pops and clicks as you turn these big CRTs sideways because they have these bizarre switches designed into the back of the monitor that it would rotate on. Nowadays, the cable just comes out the side. There's a switch inside that basically where the stand mounts, and as soon as you flip it, Windows and Mac should support it and make everything vertical. But there's not many portrait mode, like landscape portrait mode monitors left.
Yeah, as long as it senses that it's being switched, it just kind of flips all the software you're using and makes everything appear the way that it should. When you're shopping for a monitor, you'll want to ensure that it has that swivel adjustable stand. For example, when you look at Dell's P2210 22-inch monitor, one of its touted features is its swiveling stand. In fact, you can do an advanced search on Newegg specifying swivel stands to get a list of models that have that feature. Like this one, for example.
Just
It's
for
very nice.
portrait mode, because I usually search for portrait mode. Portrait mode, swiveling stand. Just
Yeah.
want to make sure it's not swiveling
You can try
stand
both.
like.
It might come up with different answers. Word of warning, though, if you plan on swiveling the monitor back and forth a lot, make sure you have enough room on your desk where you're not bumping over cups, stacks of papers, cats, that kind of stuff. I've seen it happen before. It's not pretty. Don't make that mistake. Just, be aware, spatial relationships in your office.
Yeah, Dell and LG are the only models I've seen recently that still have portrait mode.
Dell monitors are my favorite anyway, so they're always kind of a good bet to go with.
I own.
Especially if you've got one of those cinema display lust things going on.
I want the
Get a
30
Dell.
inch. Yeah.
Yeah, don't go with the freaking super expensive Apple Cinema display.
Just
Yeah,
wait
they're
for the-
beautiful, but just get a 30-inch Dell. They're
Wait
just
for
as
the
good in my
prices to drop on
opinion.
the 27-inch monitors. Drop
Yeah.
lots. Hey, if you're looking for that must-have app for your iPhone, Android, or BlackBerry,
Do you want me to carry the baby?
yes.
I'll take the baby.
I think it needs.
Oh, here's your big baby.
You should check out App Judgment, Revision 3's mobile phone application review show. And if you missed it, App Judgment is now on 5 days a week. That's new, people. Monday through Friday, the App Judgment crew is giving you reviews on the hottest new apps, news, and previews of apps, well, on mobile devices. Don't miss an episode. Revision3.com/appjudgment. Are you okay?
Heavy.
Heavy.
That's a big baby.
Here, you can look at yourself in the mirror.
No, it's just Tekzilla over and over again. That must have taken a lot of time. Well,
Nope, cut and paste.
Cut and paste. For all of you watching, we live on your questions, so email us, Tekzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos. You ask us, we'll do it. But we need those emails, so don't be shy. Send them in to Tekzilla@revision3.com.
Even better, send in a video question. Think of all the fun you can have, the admiration of your friends and family when they see your face on our show, maybe even up on the YouTube. Just keep it at 15 seconds, upload to YouTube and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line.
And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Share your thoughts, ideas, or comments with other fans of the show. Thank you guys so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Until next time, you've been watching Tekzilla.
Bye.
Portrait mode.
Stand by for speed.
Yeah, I heard that before.
We're on 2, moving on. Speed.
No. 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 3, 2. So after how? No. Happy place.
That's the face. That's the face.